Is there something I can take from this? Can I make myself better through that? And if they can silently make that transition where they don't have to be embarrassed. Nobody has to know, but they can have that situation with themselves. Because we live in a time where a lot of people, unfortunately, they may treat you wrong, but they don't want to hear about it. You make it sound like I was a terrible person. Well, I mean, you did some terrible things over the last week. So, I mean, I'm not saying you're a terrible person, but don't do the acts and then don't want to, have to talk about it. You can't have it both ways. That's kind of how I look at it. So, for example, if you look at a monster is a situation. I wrote that. What fascinated me about that, because it's a very hard subject matter, was how people, when they hear about horrible things happen, a lot of people, the first thing they say is, "How come they didn't get help?" And I want people to really think about it. If someone came to you with this particular issue, would you help them? And here's the thing. This is the hardest thing imaginable. So this is something where if someone really came to you and they had not committed the act and they came to you for help, would you help them? Because it's easy to sit back and talk about why didn't they get help after that happened, but would you be invested in it? And it's a very tough question to answer, but it's something to really, really think about. Before people talk about somebody getting help, would you be the person to help them? And that's what I'm hoping that people would inspire. And really, I really, really want to inspire both sets of minds to open their minds up to hopefully get a resolution, because I think that they are childhoods at stake. And I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you for that.
Hmm.
All right, now I'm looking at this game now where you are really interested in the conversation.
Hmm.
It's not like you are trying to feed the people what they should think.
Yeah.
You're just stirring it up. Let talk. No,
Hmm.
he also sort of explain the kind of relationship that you have with your mother
Yeah.
when she will bring out maybe some tough film and say, "Let's watch." There are hard argument there, but let's talk about it. The question is not really that she want to force it on you, but
Hmm.
she wants you to talk.
Hmm.
Let's talk.
Yeah.
So now I see you play this role now as a storyteller,
Hmm.
as someone who is telling story. You are seeing your role now as the one who is not like you are telling people this is what is wrong, this is what is right, but you are bringing the information out because you are interested in the conversation. Let's
Hmm.
talk about it.
Hmm.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel. I mean, it really depends on how people are received, and if we did our job pretty much. For example, I come from the Ridley Scott School of filmmaking. I'm a huge Ridley Scott fan because, particularly because I'm a fan of his work, but also of how he prepares himself. One of the things that he did that breathed life into me was shooting with multiple cameras, because I deal with things that are high drama, that these are scenes that one may not can't do multiple times. You don't want to exhaust the actor. So by planning to shoot two camera for a lot of these shots, what I'm going to do is you can basically, uh if somebody does something amazing and now you have it on both actors, you caught it. And it also gives you an opportunity to save time in the location that you're working with. It allows you to get more done, in a small amount of time. Because although I admire David Fincher, who will do 50 takes, but he has the time to do that a lot of times. For me, a lot of times I need to have rehearsals before we go into location to shoot. I need to give the actor every opportunity, every shot at the apple, and I'm not going to rush it, but at the same time I have to be very, very efficient in the way that I do that. But going back to my mother, when she was talking to us about these films, it was because she understood. I understand now that what she was trying to let us know was you have to find a way to deal with your feelings and emotions. And it cannot be balling up your fist and hitting somebody. It can't be lashing out, because when you have the words to express what's on your mind and you can do that verbally, you can find an outlet that can suppress you, that you can basically get out your frustrations without having to channel it in another non-productive way.
Now, there is something also that you made mention that I find sort of very interesting and very important in the entire episode of storytelling, which is emotion.
Hmm.
Because I've watched the trailers of your film,
Yeah.
I've taken the time to actually look at them. I see that there's a high emotional play that is going on there.
Hmm.
Also, maybe because of the type of story that you tell, they
Hmm.
are very powerful and very moving
Thank you.
in that you cannot watch it and not feel something. That
Hmm.
is already something powerful there. So the question is, how do you employ emotion in your storytelling?
To me, it has to be the truth of the scene, because when I made these films, it was kind of my last hurrah, because I had kind of given up on my dream. I had said I had given up on it, and I got inspired again, and I said I'm gonna go and I'm gonna basically put it all back into it. And it wasn't about fame, it wasn't about getting discovered. It was about craft. It was about the best writing, the best directing, the best acting, the best producing that I could actually do. Because anytime I do a film, I'm shooting for Warner Brothers. I'm shooting for Paramount Pictures. Now, whether we achieve that or not, but that's the goal. And for me, it's about that's where the fascination for me and my writing comes in, because I take a subject, and if the subject takes me from idea to writing to completion to green lighting the project, then that means that it keeps me enough. I have a fire that's burning for it. That means that I really want to tell this story. And it comes into my fascination as to, okay, here's a situation that I want to see play out. And here's what I want the audience to kind of keep in mind. I'm not trying to tell them what to do. I'm not trying to tell them what they're supposed to, but I really want them to think about these things going back and forth. For example, the color in your eyes. The color in your eyes is a situation where when people talk about racism or people who are racist, the one question I never hear is, why do you have this view? Now, here's the thing. If someone had a father who just about everything he taught his son was correct, and one of the things that he taught his son was that blacks were terrible, or that they were subclass citizens, or that they were beneath you. If everything else they told their son had become out right, would the son doubt that his father was correct? Would his son even think about it? And for a lot of people who don't like, African Americans or black people, do they even know why? Can they even articulate it? And that's a question I've never heard asked before. But we examine that subject here, and you see some inconsistencies from the beginning. But at the same time, but then also for people who've taken this stance, if they don't know why they don't like a particular race or color or creed, do they have the courage to do the self exploration, to do the work to ask themselves that tough question? And if they come up with the fact they don't have an answer, do they have the courage to change? Because I personally believe that interracial baby, and he's a part of your family. What do you do? It's really tough to look at an adorable baby boy or a little girl and not like them. I mean, maybe some people do, but and again, I don't have any stats to back that up, but I do believe that that's probably done a lot to hopefully mend hearts. But I really want people to look at the film and really ask themselves, if I don't like this particular, if I don't like this particular ethnicity, can I tell you why? Because to me, it's not a color thing. I'm very aware of color and how people see that, how people may see me. But to me, if you're cool, you're cool. If you are a jerk off, you're a jerk off. If you're a mean person, you're a mean person. That's just kind of how I look at it. I'm very aware of how the world works, but that's not particularly how I work. But I'm very, very conscious of what's going on around me.
I like that. I like that a lot. You see, I'm going to go back again to what we were saying before, which
Okay.
is the let's talk about it.
Mhm.
And now, look at the United States, for example,
Mhm.
which have this deep story of racism, of discrimination, of this systemic injustice. That
Mhm.
is what I want to call it now.
Mhm.
Uh, and sometimes people don't want to talk about it. They believe that they already know what it is,
Mhm.
but they don't know what it is
Mhm.
until you are ready to face it. So when you take out argument like this, for example, look at a policeman sitting on the neck of a human being until the person dies.
Mhm.
Can't we talk about it in like really take away the color in it, take away the prejudice in it, and let's look at the event that have really happened.
Mhm.
This is the citizen of the United States.
Mhm.
Another citizen of the United States is sitting on his neck until he dies.
Yeah.
How do we manage to justify this? Can we face this kind of argument without being judgmental, without maybe making the conclusion before we even enter into the conversation?
Mhm.
How do we do this?
Well, this is basis of a film that I have called When We Pray on Them. When you talk about the injustices, is that one of the things that I never ever hear mentioned or ever said is, how would you feel if it happened to you? If we think about the film A Time to Kill, written by John Grisham, in the film brilliantly portrayed, first of all star cast. Matthew McConaughey, toward the end of the film, when he describes the little girl who's basically being raped and being hung up, and then at the end of the story, he says, "Imagine that girl is white." You see how everything pretty much changed there. But see, I want to go a different route. For me, it's a situation where it shouldn't matter whether it's black, white, or any other color. It should be about that it's a life.